Right now, the world is in the middle of a massive technological shift. You could even call it a great transition. Today, we're going to break down the key forces, from AI to digital ownership, that are totally reshaping our future. You know, what we're all living through isn't just another tech update on our phones. No, this is a fundamental rewiring of society itself. It's changing how we work, how we live, how we connect with each other. We are absolutely in the middle of one of the greatest technological leaps in history. For the last decade or so, our world was pretty much defined by the smartphone in our pocket, right? That was the mobile era. But that era, it's ending. We are now standing on the threshold of something completely new, a transition period where all the old rules are being rewritten as we speak. So what's the first major force driving all this change? Well, it's something that went from science fiction to our daily reality almost overnight. Let's talk about generative AI, our new AI co-pilot. To put it simply, generative AI uses these incredible algorithms that have been trained on just massive data sets to create brand new stuff. And I'm talking about everything: text, images, music, even computer code, all generated from a simple prompt that you type in. It's wild. And the scale of this new creation is, well, it's mind-boggling. Get this, since these AI models really hit the mainstream in late 2022, they've generated over 15 billion images. That's like a Cambrian explosion, but for digital content. It's completely changing our information landscape. And of course, this creative explosion comes with some massive economic potential. A McKinsey report projects that generative AI could add somewhere between $2.6 and $4.4 trillion to the global economy annually. We're not just talking about a new tool here. This is a whole new economic engine. Naturally, this brings up the big question about jobs, right? But the key thing to understand here is that AI is really set to automate specific tasks, not necessarily entire professions. This actually frees us humans up to focus on what we do best. You know, complex problem solving, creative strategy, real communication. Think of it less as replacement and more as augmentation. But this powerful new co-pilot comes with some serious challenges. We're already seeing major copyright battles, like the huge one between the New York Times and OpenAI. Plus, AI models can, well, they can hallucinate. They can confidently present completely false information as fact. In the real irony, we might soon face a shortage of high-quality human-made data to train the next generation of models on. These are hurdles we absolutely have to figure out. All right, let's move on to our next big shift. This one is all about how technology is rewriting the very idea of ownership and value. This next part forces us to ask a really fundamental question. I mean, when you can copy and paste a digital file infinitely, what does it actually mean to own it? A new wave of technology is starting to give us some pretty fascinating answers. Okay, the core concept here has a kind of technical-sounding name: tokenization. But stick with me, the idea is actually super simple. You take the rights to any asset, a house, a piece of art, a financial bond, and you convert them into a secure, unique digital token that lives on a blockchain. Here's a great way to think about it. Imagine an old-fashioned ferry token. When you bought one, you weren't buying the actual ferry, right? Of course not. You were just buying the right to a future ride. You owned that right. Tokenization applies that exact same logic to big, real-world assets. And listen, this isn't just some wacky theory. It's happening right now. The European Investment Bank has already issued a 100 million euro bond on a blockchain. BlackRock, the world's largest asset manager, is actively trading tokenized funds. And beyond finance, this tech could provide digital identities to the 850 million people who don't have an official ID, unlocking access to so many basic services. It's a game changer. But, and you knew there was a but, all this innovation and connection creates a whole new landscape of risk. As our world gets more and more connected, it also gets more vulnerable. See, every new connection, every new smart device, it expands what security experts call the attack surface. All that really means is there are more potential doors and windows for bad actors to try and get through. And the consequences of a breach, they can be devastating. A chilling real-world example of this is the OPM data breach. Back in 2014, hackers got into the servers of the U.S. Office of Personnel Management. But here's the truly shocking part. They went completely undetected for an entire year. A whole year. By the time anyone found out, the sensitive personal data of over 21.5 million people was gone. It's just a stark reminder that the biggest threats are often the ones you don't even see. You know, Mike Tyson famously said, everyone has a plan until they get punched in the mouth. That is the perfect metaphor for cybersecurity today. It's not just about building walls to prevent the punch, it's about having a rock-solid plan for what you're going to do after you get hit. And this isn't just me being dramatic. The Alliance Risk Barometer, which surveys business leaders all over the world, shows that their number one and number two biggest risks are cyber incidents and the business interruptions they cause. This is literally what's keeping CEOs up at night. So, faced with all of this incredible opportunity on one hand and these really significant risks on the other, where do we go from here? Well, it all comes down to the choices that we make. Finally, we can't talk about building the future without considering sustainability. There's this immense pressure coming from investors, from regulators, and from us as consumers to make sure all this progress doesn't come at the planet's expense. Technology can't just be the source of the problem, it has to be part of the solution. The path forward is being paved right now, as we speak. Investors are demanding strong environmental, social, and governance, or ESG, performance. Regulators are putting real teeth into rules, like Europe's new Sustainability Reporting Directive. At the end of the day, technology is just a tool. Its impact, whether it's for good or for bad, depends entirely on us. And that's really the question for all of us, isn't it? How will we choose to shape this new era? Are we going to build a future that's more efficient, but maybe also more fragile, more connected, but less secure, more prosperous, but less sustainable? The choice is truly ours. And I just want to leave you with this really powerful thought from the great Peter Drucker. He said, the best way to predict the future is to create it. The future isn't something that just happens to us. It's something we build every single day with the decisions we make and the technologies we choose to use. So let's create a good one.